This is the motion. This is the motion. It's very simple. If you disagree with him, move your counter motion. So if you agree with him, you agree with me when I put the votes. When I ask for the votes, when I ask for your consent, let me read the motion. His earlier motion which passed in our last sitting, he has sought to rescind that. That is in respect of section 60, subsection 3. And this is what he's proposing. That the presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each polling unit to the IREV portal. And such transmission shall be done after the prescribed form EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling units, because sometimes you don't see any polling agent. Provided that if the electronic transmission of the result fails, if it fails as a result of communication failure, in other words, maybe network or otherwise, and it becomes impossible to transmit the result electronically in Form EC8A, signed and stamped by the presiding officer and or countersigned by the candidates or polling agents where available at the polling units. The Form EC8A shall in such a case be the primary source of collation and declaration of results. So distinguished colleagues, if anybody has a counter motion, you move it later. But in the meantime, those in support of the motion as enunciated by Senator Mongunu and seconded by Senator Bamoro say aye. Aye. And those again say nay. Nay. The ayes have it. Yeah, point of order.
No. Any senator may challenge the opinion of the president or the chairman by claiming a division. Mr. President, I claim a division.
In respect of?
We need to vote individually now.
On
that motion.
This is the beauty of democracy. Therefore, Senator Baribe has proposed that we should go ahead and vote. And for me, I think we should do so that everybody can answer his father's name. Baribe, are you still insisting we vote?
Thank you, Mr. President. I wish to withdraw my motion.
Any seconder? Point of order. Okay. In the absence of any seconder, we'll go ahead and vote. Order, please. Okay, Senator Baribe. Unfortunately for you, the distinguished colleagues are saying there is no seconder, and that you can't withdraw.
It is not possible for them to say no. Mr. President, a point of order does not require a seconder. It doesn't require a seconder.
Okay.
So put that aside and then move on to deal with this matter. So we should deal with the matter.
Well guided. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will read again. The motion reads, the Senate recalls that the Electoral Act repeal and enactment bill was passed by the Senate on Wednesday, 4 February 2026, notes that the bill, fresh issues have emerged in respect of Clause 60, Sub 3, which requires consideration in order to ensure the conduct of smooth, transparent, and credible elections in Nigeria. And relying on the provisions of Orders 1B and 52.6 of the Senate Standing Orders 2023 as amended, accordingly resolves to rescind decision on Clause 60, Sub 3 of the Electoral Act, repeal and enactment bill as previously passed, and recommit Clause 63 for reconsideration and passage. I so move. Mr. President, the reasoning behind this amendment,
Mr. President,
is that
point of order.
I've just given background information for the reason behind this amendment. The reasoning behind this amendment is I was the one who moved a motion for the retention of the existing act.
So we saw, all of us saw what happened at the House of Senate today, where the Senate claimed that they have amended the Electoral Act. According to Senator Gosula Wabio, you just watched the video, he said modifying Clause 60 to require the presiding officer at each polling unit to electronically transmit election results to the IREV portal. However, if electronic transmission fails due to communication network issues, the manual result sheet from EC8A would become the primary source for result collation. If you were around during the last general election 2023, you should have already known what these people have already calculated, what they have just done. So instead of them to just say we insist that election results will not be transmitted electronically, they just want to appease the protesting Nigerians. So the last election they brought this IREV, in fact the INEC ad hoc staff they recruited doesn't even know how to use mobile phone, smartphone. Some of us that went to some of our villages to cast our votes, it was bizarre. I said it many times, some of the videos I posted. I said I had to insist on making sure I had to follow through. I had to hotspot the IREV or Beaver's machine to make sure that the election from my polling unit was uploaded. So here is the shameful thing. Senator Ojus Okalo said that he votes no to electronic transmission result because there is no network in his village. Somebody should ask him, in his village, is there POS machine? And the answer will be yes. If POS machine is active and working in his village, why shouldn't Beaver's machine work in his village? So these people have already masterminded the plan on how to rig election, and Nigerians are sleeping. This is a trending topic in Nigeria today. Everyone is talking about it. We are all concerned. They have already shown us that 2027 election is a walkover. We know when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented the 2025 budget to this House of Senate, joint session of House of Senate and House of Reps, he called them the 11th Assembly. They say no, this is the 10th. I said no, I have already promoted you, and it's obvious now. There is no way that you will tell me that the network will not work in a location where POS machine. Now, almost all the people using Money Point, open the POS machine, they have them, subscribed, and you can't operate these devices without having data on it. These people are making transactions, except if Senator Ojus Okalo, who said that he's voting no to electronic transmission of result because there is no network in his village, except if he's going to tell us Nigerians that there is no POS machine in his village, that's a blatant lie. So they just needed to appease Nigerians. They don't needed to do something that will, appease the protesting public. So they said that election will be modifying Clause 60 to require the presiding officer at each polling unit to electronically transmit election results to the IREV portal. However, now this is what's going to happen. I mean, we already know what will happen. Those polling units that they know that these politicians, these greedy politicians that they know that is their strong zone, what they are going to do, they are going to make sure that these beavers machines doesn't. In fact, the last election, I don't know if I'm the only one that observed it. The last election 2023, some of the INEC ad hoc staffs came with beavers machine. There is no SIM card, there is no internet access enabled on these devices. It was a calculated plan to rig election. So when these INEC ad hoc staffs gets to the polling units, they say, look, we don't have data, we don't have, there's no the government should make provision for such from the local government. Before these INEC ad hoc staff are assigned these election materials, everyone should have received a beavers machine that has internet access enabled. But they carry all of them to the election ground or to the polling units, and election commences. Once the voting process is over, you will see this ad hoc staff struggling to upload these results on the portal. And the funny thing, the worst of it all, the portal will be shut down. You won't even. This is what I experienced firsthand. Not that someone told me about it or what's happening. The IREV portal will be shut down. You will make many trials upon trials. The result will not be uploaded. Who will then upload it? They will go to the local government and submit their devices. Those rigging merchants who have now been positioned at various local governments will perfect the rigging. There's nothing like giving an option however, if electronic transmission fails due to communication network issues, the manual result sheet from ECA will become the primary source of result collation. That is nonsense. That is nonsense. And to see that Nigerians are not interested, no one is complaining about it, no one is coming up to say this is daylight robbery and it must be condemned, we must kick against it, everyone is quiet. It just means that this government, damnable government, will continue from where they stopped. And it's going to be deadly because now they are trying to do one or two things to please us, to get our votes. Once this government gets to, like APC government, Tinubu's government, gets to his final 4 years in office, he won't listen to you anymore. He has gotten it. And now all governors have now decamped to APC. And structure, they say, is what matters in Nigerian election and politics. He's gotten it, even more than enough. So it's going to be just like a walkover for him. Look at what is happening. How will you tell me that election results will not be transmitted electronically? What is difficult in transmitting this election result? Just the IREV portal. And remember that this particular beavers machine have the details or data of each particular polling unit. You just need to upload it on your own polling unit. Upload it to the local government where you are assigned, and the collection officer at the local government will now gather all these results and upload it to the center. And they are saying that network issue is this network. Nigerians should just forget it. They have just showed us that there is never going to be any time where we are going to have free and fair election. There is no credible election. They just look at Senator Enyina Abaribe that said, okay, every senator should vote independent. They should vote on themselves. And then because he saw that nobody supported him, he withdrew his motion, and then he was laughed at. They mocked at him. This is what happens at a chamber that used to be honorable chamber so many years ago. Like I used to call it, dishonorable chamber. It's a shame